Message of the day, July 18th, 2023. The title is Good Deeds Get Reciprocated. Once again, that's Good Deeds Get Reciprocated. The scripture is going to be Esther chapter 6, verses 1 through 3, and then verse 10 of the NIV. And the Bible text reads, That night the king could not sleep. So he ordered the book of the Chronicles, the record of his reign, to be brought to him and read to him. It was found recorded that there Mordecai had exposed Bigthana and Teresh, who were two of the king's officers who guarded the doorway, who had conspired to assassinate the king. What honor and recognition has Mordecai received for this? The king asked. Nothing has been done for him, his attendants answered. And this is verse 10. Go at once, the king commanded Haman. Get the robe and the horse and do just as you have suggested for Mordecai the Jew, who sits at the king's gate. Do not neglect anything you have recommended. The meaning of the text is, just like in the text, God will cause someone to remember the good deeds that you have done for them. Sometimes we do so many good deeds for so many different people without even expecting anything back. I know that I do. But God's going to call someone to remember something that you poured into them. It could have been a word. It could have been a financial breakthrough. It could have been a prayer. God's going to cause someone to remember the good deed that you poured into them and have them to bless you. He will put you on someone's mind. He will put you in someone's heart or in their spirit to provoke them into blessing. He's going to push them. He's going to nudge them into blessing you. So get ready for an unexpected blessing, all because they will remember what you did for them. Also in the text, Haman coerced the king into writing a decree to destroy the Jews. And just the night before, he hung a 50-cubit high gallows for Mordecai to be hung on. Esther, who just so happened to be a Jew, was now the new queen, right? But her cousin Mordecai, who took her in as a daughter, Haman plotted to have Mordecai killed. But he also coerced the king into writing a decree to prevent the Jews from actually worshiping God, because they wouldn't bow to the king because they only bow to God, right? So he coerced the king into writing a decree to destroy the Jews, but he also hung a 50-foot high gallows in his yard the night before seeing the king, so that he can go into the king's chambers and talk to the king about having Mordecai murdered the next day. But remember, the king couldn't sleep. If he would have been asleep, he probably would not have read the book of Chronicles and would not have remembered Mordecai. But since he couldn't sleep, while Haman is building a 50-foot cubit gallows, the king couldn't sleep. So God's going to cause you to be placed on someone's minds, in someone's dream, and they're going to think about you, and they're going to reward you for the good deed that they've done. But let's move forward. I want to talk to somebody who has had to fight some hidden enemies, the ones you didn't even know were there until they presented themselves. There, more often times than not, we're always fighting a battle with someone we didn't even know we were in the battle with. We're competing with people we didn't even know we were competing with. Happens more often times than not. But God says the same trap that they set for you, he will be used to annihilate them. So they created a trap, a problem, a situation for you, but God's going to use it and turn it around on them. The same guy that plotted to kill Mordecai, Haman, had to parade him around while he wore the king's robe as he rode on the king's horse in the public square. To paraphrase this, so as the king was asking, what do we do? How do we honor Mordecai? Did we honor him for him saving my life? And the attendant said no. And as he was speaking to the attendant, Haman was in the king's court, trying to go into the king's court and ask him to murder Mordecai. But So as the king looked up and saw Haman, he called him in and said, what would you do for the man who the king wants to honor? And Haman, thinking that it was himself, so he named all the great stuff that he wanted the king to honor him with, like put the king's robe on him, or give him one of the king's horses with the crest, the royal crest on the horse's head, and have him paraded around the square. But the king said, okay, I want you to do everything you said, but do it for Mordecai. The same person that you're trying to murder, I want you to celebrate him. Ain't God good? God's going to turn some things around for you that you didn't even know was out against you. But you'll see it and you'll experience. The word says that I will prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. Your enemies are going to have to watch you eat while they're yet embarrassed and shamed for trying to plot against you. So don't, you don't have to respond. You don't have to avenge them. You don't have to answer however they've attacked you on social media. You don't have to respond to it. It's just that simple. God's had when you respond to it and try to correct it, you're telling God that I don't need your help. I can do this myself. But when you do it, it's not going to turn out anywhere as good as what God will do it. So I've learned to just step back. I don't have to even respond to it. But let's keep going. So think about it. He's now parading Mordecai around while Mordecai is wearing the king's custom tailor-made suit. He's riding around in the king's Rolls Royce and he's parading him around the square. How marvelous is God. But after that, Haman went home crying with his head covered. Because think about it, he was embarrassed. He now had to parade the guy around that he was trying to murder. He was embarrassed. So whoever you are that may have experienced attacks from people without instigating the attack. You've been attacked, but you didn't do anything. You didn't instigate anything, but you've been attacked. God says, I'm going to show myself strong to you and cause them to honor you. And the bottom line quote that I have for you guys is, your good deeds supersedes their evil plots. I'm going to say it one more time. Your good deeds supersedes their evil plots. Thank you so much. Until next time.